All right, welcome back to another Storm King's Thunder Monday night. We're going to jump right in to our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition official module and meet up with our group once again tonight. If you missed last week, I recommend you go back and check out the videos. They are up on YouTube and in the VOD area of Twitch. You can check that out at youtube.com/SirLucien, one word. Just like the Twitch channel here. So we're only missing one player, but we're going to go ahead and move on. Rex couldn't make it tonight, but we're going to continue the adventure. And we're going to kind of open up where we left off from last Monday with our crew on their giant airship at the moment, and beginning to rise into the sky and head northward to Mirabar. And that's where we're going to pick up our adventure. See lots of people in chat, which is cool. Thanks for coming back. And if you did miss any of the episodes, you can always check them out. Keep an eye on Twitter for announcements when we go live for any of our shows. And I think we're about ready to go. Looks like Greybeard's up and running. All right. Here. So here we go. So flying over Xanathar's Keep, and it was in the morning as the sun had been rising, as you had just finished securing the corpse of the Weevil to the front of the ship on the deck, and began to rise quickly into the air. The giant air balloon above you creaking and making all kinds of noise as the heat from within the center of the ship is pumped up to that balloon area that keeps it expanded. And you begin to head northward. Throughout the day, it's pretty cloudy, cold, still wintry out, although it is not snowing or anything like that. And as you move northward, you begin to see snow on the ground the further you head north. You will travel for most of the day, and just as the sun is setting, you can just barely see the lights of Mirabar out in the distance. You're still probably a half hour or so, maybe an hour away from actually arriving to Mirabar, even though you're high enough up that you can still see the lighting of the city as the sun is going down. It gets colder, the wind picks up some, and Delphine, your ship's captain at the moment, at the helm, calls out to who's ever on deck to get an idea of what you want to do and where you want to put the ship down. So we'll pick up there with our group, and let's see what they decide to do.
Now, did we know that Mirabar has a place for airships, or no? I know we asked, but I can't remember.
No, none of the cities you know of have airship docks or anything like that.
Okay. I'm gonna get my notepad. I guess then we are gonna do our standard set down a ways out, and walk our way up, and then sending stones, and then no on into town.
Yeah, so about an hour later, then Delphine moves the ship north of Mirabar town, and it's about a mile out. It is dark by that time. And so you guys see the ship begin to lower, and she sets it down really close to the place that you had been before, some of you, when you had first picked up the ship and stopped into Mirabar before.
Okay.
And you see them beginning to roll the ladders over the sides as it's only about 15, 20 feet off the ground, as she holds it steady and waits for you to disembark.
All right, we use rope and pulleys or whatever is available on the cargo net or whatever from the ship and lower the weevil down.
Okay. The group is on the ground.
All right, lads. What do you say? Let's go make some money.
All right.
Edrim doesn't say anything, but he'll follow.
I will follow as well. Who's carrying the... Are we carrying the corpse?
Yeah, sure. I got it.
All right, so you make your way through some snowy fields, heading basically southwest towards the gate, the city walls, and the city itself is up on a knoll, surrounded by very thick walls that are slanted towards the inside of the city. And when you get up onto the road and approach the gate, you can see that the gates are closed when you arrive.
Is there like a sally port, smaller gate within the gate?
Nope. They look pretty secure and they look pretty closed.
Huh. Is there any kind of inn or tents or ale house or anything outside?
Everything's on the inside of the walls at Mirabar.
Oh, man. I look at everyone. Well, we're not climbing the wall and breaking in this time.
But it worked so well last time.
Exactly. Anyone got any ideas?
We could try the old-fashioned way and knock this time.
All right, and I'll elbow Ardreth forward.
So are there guards around the gate?
Not at the gate. You do see movement every now and then way up on the wall, but these walls are pretty tall. They're definitely pretty thick, and they're quite a ways up. This place definitely looks like it is securely fortified, and most of you that probably would know about kind of the area would know that this is one of those places that gets attacked quite a bit, that, you know, this is they tried to really secure this out. This is not something that's easy to be attacked or overrun or breached in any way.
I'll look over at the rest of the party and ask if anyone remembers the name of the person that the wanted poster was, who had posted the poster.
Edrim shakes his head.
So we need to wait for Jarral to get back.
Yes, we do. So, do we want to set up camp? I guess Greybeard would say. So, do we just set up camp here by the gate until morning?
I think that's our only option.
All right. Stomp off over to try to use the gate or whatever, a gatehouse, something, a tower, anything to cut the wind a little bit. And I guess set up camp.
All right. So you guys
I'll work on collecting wood for a fire.
Okay. You have to roam pretty far to find too much around here. It's mostly hills and not a lot of trees or forest up in this area. But you are able to gather some stuff to create a little fire up near side the road. It is pretty much sheer walls. It's not like there's any gatehouses on the outside, or it's a big giant gate that appears to whatever they are using for a gatehouse or whatever is on the inside. Nothing is showing on the outside.
Okay.
The road that's right here on the north side, you can tell is very rutted and well used, well maintained, but empty currently as you kind of set up your traditional camp and, you know, pitch your tents and set down bedrolls. It's going to be a cold night, but with the wood that Edrim's brought back, if you keep your fire going most of the evening, you'll It won't be great, but it certainly, you won't freeze to death either.
All right. We, even though we're here, we take watches, and yeah, and we keep close eye on the Weevil. He's the thing we're guarding all night, basically.
Okay. So we can go through most of the night. Who's going to have the final watch just before sunset or sun up?
Usually me.
Okay, so that's right, Ardreth. So most of the evening goes fine. Each person is woken up for their watch. They retend the fire and they hang out. They don't no more traffic. You still see some movement up on the top of the walls, but it's far enough up that it's just shadows. And probably an hour before you think sun's going to rise, go ahead and make a perception check, Ardreth. Oh, yeah. So you hear what sounds like horses and wagon wheels creaking. Sounds like it's coming down the road. It's still kind of dark, and it's out past what your night vision would be, but you're pretty sure you hear horses and wagon approaching.
I mean, does it sound like it's just a traveler kind of wagon, or does it sound like... Should it be where it's at, I guess I should say. Does that make sense?
You can't tell what type of wagon.
Okay.
But you can... got a pretty good score there, roll. So you can tell it's not charging, it's not galloping, it's not racing. It sounds like it's a normal paced travel. Probably even slightly slower than normal, just probably because it's dark out still. You think it's probably
I'm gonna go
10 minutes up the road.
Okay. I'm gonna go over and take a look.
Okay. Yeah, so you kind of bound over and wait, 7 or 8 minutes. You can hear it the whole time. It's getting slowly louder and louder as it gets up. And then finally you can see it. You pick out a line of 6 horses pulling this pretty long flatbed wagon cart. And wheels, big giant wheels on it. They fit in the ruts of the road perfectly, as if it's something that travels this quite often. And it looks like it's pretty heavy, pretty laden down, and it has several guards all positioned on the different parts of it. And it's got a driver, a guy sitting next to him with a crossbow. A couple of them are perched up on top with crossbows, and there's even a couple on the very back end of it with crossbows.
All right. I'm gonna go back and wake up Edrim.
Okay.
Okay. Edrim wakes up.
So I'll whisper to Edrim that looks like we've got party coming down the road. It's a wagon and there's guards armed on it.
I have no idea. I don't know what's around here. Are they trading?
Not sure. It's armed. We could go and take a better look at it. Maybe you can... Is there an animal you can turn into to get a closer look?
This is hilly terrain, and it's winter. So there's a lot of snow on the ground.
I wouldn't say a lot. It's probably more like ankle deep at this point.
I don't really have anything convenient for being stealthy in this snow.
Are there small animals around us?
None that you've currently seen. I mean, it's
Okay.
nothing that was like right around your camp area. Maybe when you first kind of set up, but not throughout the night. They would have kind of took off and went and found other places to hide.
All right. Well, then I'll say to Edrim, let's go back over, take a look. I'm going to leave Greybeard asleep and Jarral.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you guys kind of walk back over towards the road, you see the wagons coming down, and it's probably still about a half hour before the sun's going to come up. And they're starting to come down, they're probably within 30 feet before they notice you two on the side of the road. And you see all the crossbows kind of whip over and kind of level them down at you. And the driver kind of squints at you because he's looking through the darkness in the morning twilight. But they don't fire or anything. They just kind of hold their guns, the crossbows, at the ready as the wagon continues down the road, going towards the gates.
Okay. I don't do anything. I just watch them pass.
Okay. Yeah.
Same here for now.
Yeah. So they keep an eye on you, and when it's clear that you're not doing anything and no weapons are out, and you're just kind of standing on the sides of the roads, most of the guards themselves kind of ease their tension, and crossbows kind of go back into their laps and such. Maybe just one of them on the back end looks a little skittish, and he's, every now and then you think if the wagon just jostles a little too hard, he's going to pull that trigger by accident, and some crossbow bolt's going to fly past you. But they kind of see you, and as it goes by, and what you can tell is it's a large, very thick flatbed cart. As it goes by, in the back of it, you can see there's a tarp, which seems to kind of be resting over whatever the contents are. And you get the impression that's a very laden down cart. And then as you're hearing that one, even off in the distance, you think you might even hear what sounds like maybe horses and carts even further up the road to the north, as if maybe another one is coming.
Shall we wake the others?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
I head back to camp.
And so does it look like there's something in the wagon, or, people or arms?
No, it's clearly there's something in the wagon, but the tarp covers it.
Gotcha.
It's cargo of some sort. You're not quite sure what. It's not a passenger wagon or coach. It's definitely a heavy-duty cargo wagon. All right, so you go and wake everybody up. You got Rex and Jarral and Greybeard, and everybody's up and rolling up their bedrolls. What do you guys do?
Grumble a lot.
Is the gate still closed?
Yes, and what you can see is from your kind of position, you're a little ways from where it's at, but you can see that the one cart has stopped, and they're just sitting there, and the guards have gotten off the cart, and the driver is actually off at the moment also checking the horses. And then within a few more minutes, maybe 10 minutes goes by, and a second cart, same type, 6 horses pulling, very heavy laden tarp over the back end, same number of guards. They kind of pull up and queue in behind the first cart, and you see them begin to check their horses, and the guards are kind of off the cart, standing to the sides.
So, do we go get in line because we were here first?
I'm guessing, Greybeard, that the wagons might take precedence.
Well, that's a bunch of guff. Alright, old GB gets his gear together and grabs up the Weevil and hoists him onto his back.
All right. Yeah, so you guys are kind of standing. How close are you to the second wagon?
20 feet.
Okay.
Close enough that they don't point crossbows at us.
Yeah, you see a couple of them glance at you as you, the 5 of you, come up out of the kind of the side area where your camp was, and 1 or 2 of them look nervous when they're looking at you as they see all the weapons that are strapped to all of you, and then but a couple of them look you over, notice you're mostly elves and dwarves and a couple of humans in there, so they kind of give you a look and then go back to just scanning, the area around. And then exactly the moment that you see the first sun ray pop up over the eastern horizon, you hear the big mechanical clank as the gate begins to slowly wind and open. And it's an enormous, thick gate that takes at least 10 minutes of them winding some mechanism to move this behemoth of a gate open. And you see several guards come out of Mirabar itself, and they have badges on that are they all wear badges that have a deep red double-bladed axe, and it kind of has a pointed haft and a flaring flat base, and it's on a black field. And then they start waving them through, and as the carts line up, you can tell that there's, just from the discussion, that it's obvious these wagoneers, the drivers are quite familiar, and the guards are very familiar with the guards that are at this gate, as if they know each other. And they quickly kind of start moving them in. They get the big wagons underway again. Those of you that are sitting at the back, as the cart moves, you can see that the wind kind of moves the tarp a little bit, and each of you can make a perception check if you happen to be looking over towards it as it rolls in.
Nice.
Yeah, Ardreth will probably catch it.
Woo!
Woo.
Yeah. Okay. First 20 of the night. Spammy.
Yep, sorry. I was posting something in Twitch.
Oh, sure. All right, yeah. I think Ardreth's the only one that catches it. So, and it's like super quick. You had to just be looking at it right at the right moment. You are pretty sure that it is filled with ore, and you're not sure, but it definitely had a shine to it. So it could have been either a copper or a gold, or it's definitely a wagon load from the mines to the north.
So I'll lean over and look at Greybeard and look at the rest of the party and say, I think it's grain.
Good, because I was about to say I make a wisdom check versus greed, and cool.
All right, and then the second wagon gets called in, and they move in. They just kind of wave them on. You can tell that the guards are familiar with the drivers and the set of guards. And then as you walk up, one of the guards kind of moves to intercept and says, "State your names and business." So he walks up to you.
And I look at Ardreth like, you'd better start talking.
And I look at Jarral real quickly and ask him if he remembers the name of the person who posted the wanted poster.
Yes, it was Dars Helgat.
So
Or at least that's who we got it from.
So I look at the guard and tell him that we're looking for Dars Helgar. We've got a package that he requested.
Oh. Sorry.
I was
Dars
just
Helgar
about to say.
Yeah, where we got the quest from.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't remember who's on the wanted poster.
The wanted poster was... I think it just said the Weevil.
So we didn't have a name of who posted it?
No, it just
And
said
put
there was
out
a
the
5,000 gold return alive to Mirabar.
Okay. Well, then I let them know that we've found a package, one called the Weevil, and we're here to return it and claim the reward.
Okay. So he kind of looks you all over and he's like, bounty hunters then, huh?
Not by trade, but by opportunity.
Normally we're heroes fighting giants and whatnot.
And so, yeah, they move over towards the dwarf and they're like, so you caught the Weevil, huh? And they're looking right at Greybeard.
Yep. And I point my thumb at at my Weevil backpack I'm carrying currently.
Yeah, they give you the look like you're the Weevil.
Oh.
Uh,
No, I only played him at Xanthar. No, I don't say that. I'm like, no. I'm Greybeard, hero of Nightstone, hero of Tribor. Where else have we been heroes? Well, those two anyway.
And he's like, it's a lot of titles for such a short one.
I do want to say I am carrying a flame blade sword, a golden breastplate, and whatnot. So I'm gonna say I look a little impressive at this point.
Or mismatched, one of the two.
Yeah, you know.
He's like,
He's
impressive in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
so
Nope.
Yeah, go ahead.
Roll for impressive.
This guy's the Weevil, and we got him.
Yeah, and they're just
Unfortunately, during the fight, the Weevil put up a robust defense and passed away as part of the encounter.
Yeah, they're kind of waiting for you to show them something here. You're just people on the road with a wrapped up something.
I thought Greybeard had Weevil over his shoulder. Oh, so Greybeard, show them the trophy.
All right, and I pull the blankets aside and show him.
All right, yeah, so they take a look at the body, and he's like, all right, looks like you might have caught him. You're going to have to go ahead and bring that into the office of the Marquion. And then he waves you through, and the other guards kind of move aside, and then from behind, too, you can also hear several more wagons have started to queue up as they were talking to you.
All right, we'll head in then.
What was the office? Machion?
The Marquion? Hey, I remembered something for longer than 5 minutes.
So you enter through kind of like, the walls are thick enough, it almost feels like you're going through a tunnel. As you come out on the other side, you can see quite a few squat stone buildings and a few stone towers on the inside of these walls. The walls have a probably about, I want to say maybe like a, I don't know, it's probably more than a 45 degree angle on them, but they definitely are angled out towards the base. And as you get inside, they're flat on the inside, this giant walls, and it goes around the entire settlement up on this big knoll. And then you can see the town has begun to bustle, many people moving to and fro. Mostly you're seeing humans for the most part. Every now and then you catch sight of a halfling or an elf here or there, but that's about it.
Well, let's ask where this guy's office is.
Yeah, so just a regular passerby going by, and they mentioned that towards the center of town, you can find the offices. They're near the barracks and the guardhouse, near the axes of Mirabar's garrison. His offices are connected to that, and it's near towards the center of the Mirabar.
Okay. All right, let's head that way.
So you head on in. Most of in the northern area here, what you're passing is warehouses at first. and then it kind of turns into more residential stone buildings. You pass by a few streets that you look left or right that might be markets, might be other stuff that kind of leads off. You're on like a main road that runs through town here. And then you get towards the center of town, and you can see what's clearly looks like it almost is like a keep itself in the middle of the walled city here. And it's clear that it's a barracks with lots of guards with the types of uniforms that you saw from the guards at the gate and the people walking across the wall. And every now and then you see little patrols of ones and twos on your way through the center of town. It's a pretty big city compared to most of the places you've been in the last year or so as you've been traipsing around the Sword Coast. And there is another building to the side of it that looks more like a administrative building, more square, not necessarily as defensible, but more utilitarian kind of stone building with wood roof. As you approach, there is another human male dressed in kind of like a townsfolk's clothes at the front desk area when you walk into the door, and he takes your names down and hears that you have brought the Weevil and you're here to pick up a reward, and he has you wait kind of, there's like chairs against the wall, and he sends for one of the bailiffs to come and take a look and deal with you guys. So then it's only a few minutes later that a bailiff comes and says, "All right, show me what you've got."
All right, then. Then I unwrap it and show him.
And he's kind of looking at you, and then he's looking at the dwarf on the ground, and it's like, "So this is the Weevil, huh?" And he sounds suspicious.
Yep.
And you decided to kill him. Why?
Well, unfortunately, he passed away during the fight itself. Our attempt was not to kill him, but instead to restrain him.
And he looks at all of you.
I was sleeping off a hangover.
And he kind of nods. Huh. Well, he was to be brought here to stand trial. It's going to be hard for him to stand trial now. And he kind of strokes his stubble of a beard that looks like it's one of those 2-week-old growths. Says, "Well,
I have heard that there are clerics that may be able to ask the body to answer questions after they have died. Perhaps that would suffice for the trial."
And he kind of looks at you and he says, "Sure. Are you willing to pay their prices?"
Well, I think we saved everyone some money by just, getting on to the execution and all that. We'd just take our pay and go.
Yeah, he's kind of squinting at all of you, and he's like, "Tell you what,
Okay.
I'll bring the witness around. They identify the body. We'll give you half the reward for bringing," and he kicks the body back. "If they don't identify the body and you're trying to play a fast one, you'll see the inside of the cells before the day is out."
All right.
And then he says, "Wait here. I'll arrange it." And then he just kind of turns and he walks over to where the counter is. And again, they look like they use 10 to 12-year-olds as runners and messengers and things like that. Another 10-year-old goes running out the door with a little message satchel on his side and apparently off to retrieve something or somebody. And then he walks back into an office, leaving you guys out in the front area with the wrapped body and the only ones in the chairs there. You seem to be the only people here besides the guy behind the counter.
I kind of motion for Ardreth and, for everybody to kind of huddle in. And I say, "All right, Jarral, you get on with the, oh, geez, this is fair kind of talk." And Ardreth, use your charms. Let's get some cash out of this. And then GB sits back and lights his pipe with his good dwarven pipe weed and has a smoke.
Yeah, and the guy at the counter says, "You need to take that outside, sir."
Oh, rocks and rain. All right, let's take it outside.
Yeah, and as you get outside, the wind blows cold, and you can see that the start of a not too bad, kind of beautiful looking little snowflakes start to come down as the weather begins to turn.
I pull my ear flaps of my hat down and snug it over my head and enjoy my pipe as best I can.
Okay. All right. You guys are going to wait around?
Of course.
Okay. So, yeah, it seems like about an hour goes by, maybe 2 hours goes by, and then finally a dwarven woman shows up with the boy that was the runner, comes in, talks to the clerk at the front desk. The boy runs into the office, and out comes the bailiff, and he comes in and he starts shooing you guys away, and treating the woman with a lot of respect, and just like trying to move you guys out, and is like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, to have you come and see this. We needed to verify that this was the Weevil, and if you'd be willing to take a look at it, we can get this nasty business over with." And she looks pretty upset about seeing that there's a body there, and he goes to unwrap just the face part, and she takes a look, and she recognizes the face quite a bit. She kind of breaks down a little bit, and then the bailiff says, quickly puts the wrap back over and brings her into the office of his office. He comes back out, and he nods to the clerk and says, "Yep, go ahead and pay him. Give him half the reward for bringing him back."
And I'll ask the bailiff at this point with my most persuasive voice to say, while dead, you still do have the culprit in hand, and he'll be causing your district no more crime. I would expect that the fact that you're going to be weevil-free and the reduction in the crime rate in the area would be worth a little bit more than just half the reward. After all, if we had brought him back alive, not only would you have had an expensive trial, but the potential that he could have gotten off and caused more harm.
Yeah, that sounds all reasonable. Let's see how your persuasion roll goes.
It's not the 20 I rolled earlier. But...
Oh, you already rolled one?
Yeah, he
I
just
just
rolled
rolled
it.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
18, gotcha.
It's not quite the 20 I got earlier. But...
Man, you got a +9?
Yeah, so he kind of gives you a hard look, and he says a few of the things you say is true, though we were not going to spend much. There was going to be no trial for him. Once he was identified, he's going to be hanged. I'll tell you what. We'll give you 3,500 gold of the reward. We wanted to have the closure with the family of them being able to see the murderer of their son, and you've kind of robbed them of being able to stone this guy to death.
And I'll say, bailiff, you're an honorable man, and of course we would be happy at that. Thank you.
All right, yeah, and the clerk is already starting to count out money, and on the counter you're seeing stacks, and he counts out 3,500 gold coins of the Mirabar currency here, and presents it to you with also a receipt for you to sign that you received 3,500 gold coins. He has you sign one, and you keep a little piece of paper that says you received it.
Was Mirabar the place that Jarral was probably more accepted than anybody? Or than any other place?
No, that was Silvery Moon.
That was Silvery Moon? Okay.
Nope. You're catching a lot of furtive glances your way.
Okay.
And when we get back out of the courthouse, I grab up Ardreth and like swing him around and set him back down. I'm like, that's the way a bard should work. Good job.
So here's your 500 share, Greybeard.
All right.
And I'll walk over to Jarral and Edrim and Rex and hand them a slightly larger bag.
I'm happy with that.
Jarral graciously accepts with a smirk. You noticed it.
It was Jarral that took the payment in the Starmeadow Hills, wasn't it? When the group was split up.
I gave it all out to everybody.
Okay.
I did keep yours, though, because you
Yes.
said you didn't want it. So I do have that as party funds.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I was remembering that correctly.
Yep.
Edrim hands you his sack.
Okay. How much was it?
So the people who look in their bag, other than Greybeard, would find 750 in their bag.
Okay.
Well, do we need supplies? And I will definitely refill our rations somewhere. All right. Is rations just standard prices?
Yeah, you can go into any place, make a persuasion roll, and then
Okay.
we don't have to role play it
Cool.
out.
All right.
I'm gonna go shopping with Greybeard and offer to pay for the food.
All right. Then
Huh. I don't have any rations in my inventory. I guess I should do the same.
well, I usually dole them out. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I keep them in the bag of holding.
Oh, okay.
So it
Perfect.
looks like we need about 60.
Then I'm
more.
glad you didn't get arrested.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we need 60 rations. So that's 30 gold. Would be normally.
Okay.
But
Yeah, go ahead and make a.
Ardreth is the one shopping with me. I'm just carrying.
Yeah, you can make a. Ardreth can make a persuasion roll to see if he can get the price. You can haggle a little bit.
Are you carrying any party funds? Good.
Yes, I do have some party funds too.
Okay. All right.
It's just going down as the night goes on.
Yeah, at 11, it'll be the regular price out of the.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
no change.
Ardreth, you said you were paying that?
I am this evening.
All right. Okay, there it goes. And I will put us back up to 120 days of rations. Well, 120 rations, I should say.
Yeah, so you're doing them at 5 silver piece
Yep.
per, right? Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, you've stocked up on rations.
I personally will buy coffee and tobacco since we're somewhere that we have it, and I'm pretty good.
Greybeard's hooked me on the finer drink of coffee as well, so I get some too.
Okay.
Wait. Coffee for coffee?
No, coffee's gone. Oh,
Yeah, I was confused.
Coffee to drink.
coffee to drink. Yes,
Oh, there's so many jokes there.
yes, there is. All right. And I thought I had the price down for coffee. I'll look it up and tell you, Ardreth, in chat, so we don't have to wait on it. So where now, lads?
Shoot, I was actually gonna get see if I could get Ardreth to talk to the woman. Too late. Did anybody get any of the other quests that we were looking into?
Questions.
Because I think PB had mentioned a few, and the only one I got any information on was this one.
Well,
At least that I can find in my notes anyway.
Well, we've got the oh my god, the places where the artifacts for the Odin's eyes are at. So there's artifacts that oh my goodness, that we need to return to the Odin's eye to ask more questions.
Okay.
I know that one.
Do we know if there's anything close to Mirabar?
Yeah, we got a map.
And there was some kind of cave in the southern part of the Suburban Hills. It was tied into a rumor somebody had heard.
Oh, that was the one we were looking for loosely, right?
We had considered it, but we ended up hurrying onto the Star Meadow Hills and bypassing it.
Right. Okay.
So near us is, well, the closest ones to us are Morgur's Mound, Raven Rock, and Shining White are the closest ones.
Raven Rock, Shining White, and Morgur's Mound.
Yes, and they're on the map we got from.
Yeah, I see. I mean, it looks like Morgur's Mound is closest.
Yeah, I would kind of suggest that one myself.
Or probably least of a pain to get to.
All right.
Which probably means it'll be more dangerous. Oh, there it is on our big map.
Woohoo!
So I guess if we're either, well, why don't we? Looks like both of them are on the main map.
I see three of them.
Raven all three of them are?
Morgur's Mound, Shining White.
So why don't we try and get some information? So I guess you would have told us about all these three. So Jarral, he'll suggest perhaps we should ask around town to see if anybody has any information about these places, so that we're not going in blind.
Okay, well, all right. Smart guy, I point at Jarral, and charming guy, point at Ardreth. Let's get it going on. And I go by that other stuff. I'll pick up coffee for you. It's a gold piece a pound. So how many pounds of coffee do you want?
How much do you usually buy?
I usually buy 5 pounds.
Oof. All right, I'll go for it. Why not?
All right.
Yeah, got some Starbucks going on there.
Telling you.
I drink alcohol and I drink coffee. And also, Lucian, I'm gonna pick up some little gifts for our shipmates, like a cask of ale and whatnot. You want me to make a persuasion and all that?
No, we can consider the one that was already rolled. It'll just be the price out of the.
Perfect. Cool. Okay.
All right. So you're standing outside an ale house where you've just bought a cask of booze.
Okay. I look at Ardreth and I look at Jarral like, where are we finding this information?
Well, perhaps we should all not go to the same place. Perhaps we should spend a day or two. How much? We were not in. What was it called? The Eye of the Allfather?
Yes.
We were not with you with the Eye of the Allfather. So, what sort of urgency was on there? Do we have a day or two to to gather information, or are we under a schedule?
Well, poor Harshnag's stuck up at the Eye of the Allfather, but he wasn't necessarily like, go get this done. We have some time if we need it. But
True. And now that he thinks of it, so I would imagine we still have time because we just spent all this time getting this weevil.
right.
Very well. I suggest we spend at least. Do we know what time of the day it is at this point? Morning, mid-morning?
It's approaching noon now after you've completed all your shopping and the time that you waited at the Markion's office.
Okay. So perhaps we spend today and at least part of tomorrow. See what we can find out about Raven Rock, Morgur's Mound, and the Shining White.
Raven's Rock. What were the other ones again?
Morgur's Mound and Shining White. And all three of them are kind of in a triangle around Mirabar on the big map on the Roll20.
Got it.
Do we know what we were looking for in those places?
Yeah, they were some kind of artifacts, like oh man, I really can't remember. As a human being, can I make an intelligence save or something to see if GB remembers?
Sure.
Nope, GB doesn't remember.
GB did not pay attention.
Nope, and he doesn't. Flint Rock, yes. There was a bunch of stuff. There was maybe some bones. I think it was some kind of artifacts, but I as a player and a character cannot remember. Oh, Ian, where are you now?
Jarral would just make an offhanded comment that we rely too much on Ian.
Oh, I missed that, Elf.
Yeah, I'll read off this part just as a reminder. So the last thing the Oracle ended up saying was, first you must prove yourself. When human barbarians came to these lands, they fought our kind and stole our relics, burying them in the ground. The humans built altars to Uthgar, their god king, atop these relics and surrounded their altars with burial mounds. Go to these mounds, retrieve one or more of our lost relics, and bring them here as tribute. Do this, and your path may be made clear. There are many paths you can take. The more relics you deliver, the more paths you will have to choose from. Several evil giant lords stand ready to oppose you. You can ruin all of their plans by defeating just one of them. Which one that is remains to be seen. Were the last words of the Oracle.
Okay, so we don't have really any information on what specifically we're looking for, where at those places we're looking for them. So, okay. Okay, so I guess then we should...
Right, well, while we're debating on that, or you guys are talking about that, we'll take a first 5-minute break. We'll fill our drinks and use the restrooms, and then we'll come back, and we will continue our adventure. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tweet.
All right, we are back from break, and let's go ahead and jump back in. You guys are standing outside of an inn where you've just purchased a cask of ale for the ship. And again, it's been snowing now since morning. Not too much is accumulating, but there's kind of snowish flurries in the air as you are standing outside in one of the main roads here of Mirabar. What is the group doing?
I think we decided we were going to head back to the airship. Or
we are?
Gonna...
We're not going to get any information?
Oh, I don't know. I thought this, in between we said we were going to do that, but I'm happy to go get information too.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just thinking that if we have a little more information on each place so that, we sort of have an idea what to expect, like if it's heavily guarded or anything like that, what we're up against, before we just kind of fly in and drop in.
How about the two of you collect information, and Greybeard and I will deliver the supplies to the airship, and then we'll return here afterwards?
Very well.
Okay,
So,
Rex will go with Edrim and Greybeard then.
Either one. Doesn't matter to me.
Rex isn't very charismatic, right?
Let us see.
Oh, you know what? I have that. Rex.
His girlfriend thinks he's cute, just the same.
He is average.
Yeah, that's. I guess. I might bring Rex with me because I kind of stand out.
Okay.
Is there like a seedier part of Mirabar?
Not that you've noticed on the way in, and not from kind of where you're at. You didn't see any you didn't recognize anything that seemed different than the stone houses that you've been seeing.
Okay, I'm gonna. So if we're all agreed to that, Ardreth and I are gonna kind of split up and check stuff out. I will bring Rex with me, and I'm gonna try to find the least upscale tavern I can find within like the next 15 minutes.
Okay, so you're just looking for.
So what I'm trying to do is trying to find like a not a posh tavern, but go into one that might be average or kind of run down or a dive, and ask them if where would kind of shady adventurers go.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with that, I guess. So yeah, you kind of walk around and you check in at a few different inns here and there, and most of the ones you're seeing are pretty much like tradesmen's inns. It's a lot of workers, probably middle of the road in price. They're certainly not the expensive, lavish. It seems like it's more of a blue collar kind of town. Lots of workers, probably lots of people that work the mines and such. But you're able to find maybe a rundown one. We'll call it the how about we'll call it the Carpenter Square. And it seems to be a little bit down more on its luck than the other inns you've been to.
Okay.
as you head in at the midday hour. Hardly anybody in here. Seems to be a tavern keep at the counter. A couple of people seem to be maybe just one or two drinking. Most of the place is empty at this point.
Any conversation?
No, it seems really quiet when you get in there. You can tell that the furniture is the type of furniture that gets broken quite often, and then they nail it back together, so it has a very rough, notched look to it. Looks like it's been broken many times and then repaired shoddily each time.
Okay. I'm going to just kind of scan the room just to see if I can perceive any suspicious folks in there. Or anybody that's kind of looking suspiciously my way or anything like that. Looking for anything suspicious or...
Yeah, the two people in here are drinking, aren't paying you any attention at all. Didn't even turn when you came in. You can see that the tavern keep is looking at you at the doorway as he's continuing to clean what appears to be glass mugs, clay, or ceramic mugs.
Okay, I'll head over to the bar.
Okay.
And
says, "What would you like to drink?" And he kind of starts wiping the bar in front of you.
Do you have wine?
He says, "Yeah, I think we got something. Hold on just a moment." And he's kind of rummaging down underneath the kind of the bar area, and then comes back and has a dusty bottle that he uncorks and pours into the ceramic cup that he had been cleaning. And he says, "That'll be a silver."
Okay, so I reach into my pouch and I pull out 3 silver. I give him 1 and I pawn the other 2. And I nod. Thank you. Not very busy around this time of day.
Everybody's working.
Indeed. I'm new in this area, just passing through town. Kind of an adventurer, I guess you could say. Is there?
Don't get too many of those in here.
Do you know where, adventurers may hang out?
Most of the time, any travelers like that are probably near the different taverns that are up near the gates. They don't come too far into Mirabar, unless they're looking for something else, shopping, or looking to make some type of trade deal, but those are going to be mostly merchants. Adventurers, they're probably up near the gates.
And we passed the gates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's only like kind of one way in kind of thing?
Well, you've been in from the northwest side, is as much as you've seen.
Okay. The gates, the ones on the northwest side of town, or are there other gates?
Yeah, he mentions that there are several gates around that go to the different roads. So there are some to the northwest, there's some to the southwest, there's some to the southeast.
Okay. You wouldn't happen to know if there's a map maker in Mirabar? Maybe one that has a map of the town?
He kind of gives you an odd look.
I dabble in map making. I enjoy maps.
He kind of pushes your glass to you and says, "Go ahead and hurry up and drink that, and I think you should be on your way." And he kind of, his eyes are narrow at you as if the mood has changed.
I did not wish to offend. Thank you for your time, and we'll slide the other 2 silver pieces. And he'll leave his drink.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of watches you suspiciously as you exit.
Okay. Then I am going to. Did he kind of gave general directions on where the other gates were, right?
Yeah. Basically, like there's gates on the northwest wall, the southwest wall, and the southeast wall. Though it is a circle town, so not square.
Southwest, north, southeast. Did you say?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see on the map where the roads lead in.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, then I am going to. So we came in from the northeast.
Correct. Yep.
Northwest. All right, so I'm going to make my way toward the southeast. So when we came into town, did the shops or anything in the northeast area look kind of upscale kind of thing, or not an upscale, but like normal?
Yeah, everything here is made of pretty sturdy stone architecture with wooden roof. It looks like it's built to take the winters. Everything seems to be built pretty uniform, and you're not quite clearly seeing, it's not like Waterdeep where you can walk from one district to another and recognize, oh, this must be an upper class or a middle class or a lower class. Though it's a big city, it's more of a city that houses quite a bit of the workers, and so it kind of reflects that.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to make my way, I guess, toward the southeast gate, and as I'm going, I'm just going to pay attention to the people and kind of the whether or not I see any riffraff kind of adventure types. Going to look for a map shop, and otherwise just kind of take a lay of the land, I guess, as I go, and just kind of make some mental notes so I can, if I don't find a map shop, at least I can draw a rudimentary map of the town as I go.
Okay. So you begin walking towards the south west, and a lot of the area here seems to be residential homes, and then towards you kind of moved a couple of different blocks, and then it looks like it's more of more warehouses start to pop up as some type of, and you get the smell of grains and food. You think you're kind of probably in the food warehousing kind of area, and the types of wagons and merchants and things that you're seeing all seem to be either farmers talking to merchants or merchants talking to each other on the area. And you notice two of the two guards that have the same symbol that you saw at the gate. They notice you with your pen and paper out, and from across kind of the side, and they make an immediate beeline over to you. And the one in the lead, as he's kind of holding his hand up and says, wait a moment there, you can see the second one is drawing his weapon.
Good afternoon.
And he kind of moves close enough that he's looking at what you're doing, and he's like, hey, what do you think you're doing?
I'm making a map. I am a map maker.
And he looks at you with kind of a shocked look, and he looks at the guy behind him, and he's like, well, that was the easiest crime I've ever seen. Come with us.
Crime?
And he takes his sword out of his sheath, and he says, you'll be handing your weapons over to my partner here.
What crime did I commit?
You're drawing a map of the town. That's against the law. Hand them over.
I was not aware that there was such a law. Well, by all means, and he gives him the map.
Yep. Okay. He takes that, and his partner has his hands out as he's waiting for you to hand over your weapons. Rex is waiting for your cue here. He's not.
I forgot I had Rex with me. Obviously, this is a misunderstanding. What's... I mean...
Let's go. Come on.
Crap. We're like right in the middle of the street, right?
Yeah, there's a big crowd that's moved away, far enough away that nobody gets hit by a stray weapon of some sort. But it's definitely a big crowd gathering.
Charles gonna turn to Rex and say, "My apologies. I'm sure you assumed that the next time this would happen, it would be with Greybeard."
And jail again. Rex is a jail magnet.
Yeah. So I will. Man.
Maybe it's just.
I've only got the two
Rex
swords, so I'm
gets
gonna give
everyone
him
in jail.
Okay, so you hand the swords over, and then Rex begins unlumbering all his weaponry, and he's like a walking armory. And by that time, several other guards have come, and you have probably about 10 of them there by the time they have all the stuff, and they start escorting you back to the center of town, towards where you remember the barracks were. And then we'll cut over to Ardreth, just as you had left Jarral and Rex heading one way, and you see Greybeard and Edrim heading back up to the northwest, back over towards where they're going to go find the airship. What is Ardreth doing?
I'm actually looking for a nicer bar in town.
Okay. I mean, you wander around, and probably the first thing you notice is you're not getting quite as many looks as you were when you were with the group. It seemed like a lot of people were kind of making furtive glances at your group as they move through town, but now that you're kind of on your own, you're not seeing that as much. But you're still kind of passing by a lot of working class, middle class kind of establishments. You're not seeing anything that seems really run down. You're not seeing anything that seems really opulent. As far as you can tell, it's just, it just seems like they're all kind of, you would think middle class, being a bard and being in towns where you've seen, different class sections. You're just seeing mostly middle class establishments.
Well, at this point, then I'll just look for the one maybe that looks slightly nicer than the others.
All right. I'm going to use one from chat because there was a good one in chat. Yeah. How about the Stonecutter's Chisel? Is one you find. It's a good one.
Sounds good. I will head into it.
All right. It's midday. You see some people here eating lunch. They look like they have workers' clothes on. Look like they have aprons and such, but they've got those pulled down. They're sitting at a table eating some type of lunch out of a bowl. There's probably only 4 or 5 people in here. Most of them are sitting alone. And again, you see a tavern keep, and she happens to be using a mop to clean floors at the moment when you walk in.
All right, I will. And it's just her and no one else in the bar at all?
No, there's 5 other humans in
okay.
here, other workers sitting at tables.
Gotcha. All right, I will head over towards the bar.
Okay.
And try to get a stool that gets me close to it.
Yeah, there's nobody at the bar. It seems like everybody that's here is at a table eating, and you can tell it's probably like a lunch. It's about lunchtime. And it seems like there's just a few people here eating lunch. Nobody's at the bar as you come up. And then the barkeep is a female human, and she puts grabs the mop and puts it in the bucket and then walks back around and grabs the old towel off the counter there and says, what'll it be?
Well, I'm looking for would enjoy some mead.
She says, oh, we've got plenty of that here. And then she goes behind. There's big casks up behind the bar area, and she pulls out a big mug and pulls on the lever, and you can see it froth in, and then turns around and sets it on the counter to you. And she'll be 3 copper.
And I'll throw her a silver and say thank you.
Big spender. And she smiles and puts it over in what looks to be like a money box.
And I'll drink the mead slowly, and as we're going through, I'll ask her questions about how long she's lived in the town and who she knows and what the town's like, because it's my first visit here.
Ooh, okay. Do a persuasion roll. Let's see how well this goes.
And I don't have paper and pen, so I don't
nice.
draw anything.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I'm doodling on my napkin of a guy with a mustache.
She immediately, as you're asking her those kinds of questions, you get the absolute impression that she thinks you're trying to pick her up, and she seems super flattered. She's super into you all of a sudden, laughing at all your jokes, telling you all kinds of stuff about her life and funny stories and her family, and
She's a stalker.
So I'll play it up a little bit and hint around about a boyfriend or a husband.
Yeah, you see her get kind of flushed a little bit, and she gives you the kind of the side eye look of, no, there's nobody right now. There's there maybe several months ago, and she kind of stammers a little bit. Your bardic charm is seeming to work quite a bit on her.
So I'll use this as an opportunity to ask her a little bit about the area around and tell her that when I came into town, I heard someone mention a name Raven Rock, and I had never heard of it before and wondered if she knew anything more about it.
No, and this will probably be the first time she has maybe a confused look on her face, and she's like, no, I don't think I've heard of that. And she's like, she's trying to think of something, like she wants to be able to say, yeah, I know that, or I can, but she's like, no, I haven't heard of anything like that. Raven Rock. And she starts asking you questions about you and where you're from and your family and how long you're staying in town.
I'll explain to her that my father was a human, my mother was an elf, and that we're visiting now, we'd been adventuring about, and tell her a little bit about the airship that we flew on.
And her eyes get really big when you talk about the airship, and she's like, you have to tell me, how did your mother and father fall in love?
And that's at this point I'll get quiet. It's a sad story and didn't end well, and one I'd prefer not to share.
Oh yeah. She seems flustered now that she turned the conversation in a direction that it seemed you didn't want to go.
At that point, I'll order another drink and just continue talking.
Oh yeah, she's been filling it up as you go.
Oh, nice.
Not charging you or anything, just keeping it going. And she even is like, do you want some food? I'll go get you some food from the kitchen. I'm sure we have plenty back there. There's hardly anybody here for lunch.
Oh, food sounds wonderful. I'm famished. And so
Yeah.
while she goes back to get food, I'll look around at the other patrons. And are there any that seem to be willing to talk or have company?
No, they all seem like they're keeping to themselves. They're not really You don't think any of them are overhearing your conversation. You don't think any of them have shown any interest that you came in. They seem like they're eating, and it seems like they're here. They've eaten, and they get their stuff and they walk out. It's clear that maybe this is just a place for people to come to lunch and then go back to wherever they were.
Gotcha.
And then she comes back out with a plate of some sliced meats and some cheeses and some breads, all arranged nicely on a plate. And she says, "Oh, you have to tell me more about an airship. How did you come across an airship, and what is that instrument on your back?"
Oh, and I'll pull it out and offer to play her a song if that's what she'd like. And ask her her
eyes
favorite.
light up.
And so does she have a
like,
favorite song?
She's like, I like all of them. Just play any of them.
So I'll pick one that's on the sappier side, not too romantic, but just enough.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and do a performance check. Let's see how well your instrument is tuned and you played.
Some John Legend.
Oh yeah, it's actually good still. All right. Yeah, she's super impressed as you go through the song, and she kind of claps her hands at the end of it, and she's like, "Oh, you've got to come and play the tavern tonight when we have more people here. Oh, it'd be so good. You'd probably make a lot in tips, and people just donate money and throw in, and if you put a hat out or something like a lot of the other bards do." She's like, "Oh, it'd be great for business."
And I'll use that as the opportunity to say, it sounds like a wonderful evening. I will be back. And thank her for the company and the food, and offer how much for the food.
Oh, she's like, "Oh, just please come back tonight and don't worry about this. This was nothing. This was just some leftovers from the lunch area." And then she does. You can tell that she seems a little disappointed that you're getting ready to go. Like you've got that presence of, "I'm about to leave."
And I'll lay 5 silver on the counter and say thank you, and kiss her on her hand and walk out.
All right. Yeah, she swoons a little bit as you go. Looks wistfully at the door, even minutes after you've gone, and then you were out back on the road as a little bit more of the snow flurry is happening. More of the large snowflakes are coming down, though it's not accumulating as much in town. It's definitely coming down, and it's probably going to blanket the area before too long.
And I'll head back. Did we say we were going to meet back at the airship, right? I think we did. So I'll head towards the airship and
All right.
meet up with everyone there.
So let's kick back over to Greybeard and Edrim. You've used the sending stones, and you get Delphine. And what's the message you send to her?
We're coming back with some supplies and whatnot. I guess rendezvous with us where you dropped us off, please, if you'd be so kind.
Yep, you hear an aye aye from the other side, and then you can hear a little of the creaking in the back as the stone picks up some of the noise of the airship. So you guys head out the northwest gate. The guards there are still the same guards that you saw that morning, and wave to you as you go by, and you head out, and then you walk about a mile north of town is about where the kind of flat spot out in the field of one of these rolling hills, and wait for the airship to come in low. You're probably there for probably about an hour as they are slowly bringing the ship in. Again, they bring it in low from a long way out so that it's not as easy to see when they're making their approach to your landing site, and hovers overneath. You guys climb up the rope ladders, secure the supplies, and within probably another hour, you see Ardreth coming through the snowfield, heading towards the airship.
Well, I brought you when we get on board. I'm like, I brought you and the crew a cask of ale, and then some bacon and some more, treat food, the stuff that you would have to eat and couldn't, let sit around. So some
Yeah, she gives you a smile and says, the crew will enjoy that. We have plenty of rations, but it's always good to have, she calls it the extras.
All right, cool. Yay, you got to take care of your crew.
And actually, you can make another roll at this point, Greybeard, for the trip here and for examining the how the airship works to see if you've caught on to the workings of it.
And that was my vehicle's water.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first time of all the other times you've rolled, you hadn't quite picked it up. But talking to the crew, listening to them talk, watching them do their jobs, you've realized that what had happened is they have in the center of the ship is controlled a fire elemental that creates the heat to keep the hot air in the balloon portion, and they also have an air elemental which allows them to push from the back of the ship in directions, and that's why you've been able to go against the wind at times while traveling. So there are magical entities powering this ship, and you've realized how the different pieces work. You've learned how the ballista on the front and the back work, the mechanics of it, reloading them, loading them, firing them, that kind of thing. You feel like you could probably navigate the ship at this point, now that you've seen enough of it.
As a player, you have no idea how cranked I am. That's amazing. Can I put vehicles water/air?
Well, I wouldn't say you have a specialty in it.
All right.
So it's not like you're specialized in this quite yet.
Okay.
But you definitely can make, if somehow the crew wasn't there and you had to make the navigation checks and stuff, you'd be able to do it reasonably.
Sweet. That is very, very cool. Yay.
Yeah, and so then an hour goes by, and you guys see Ardreth, and Ardreth, you see the airship at the rendezvous point, and you climb up the rope ladders, and there is Edrim and Greybeard on deck, though you do not see Rex or Jarral.
Hey, where's everybody else?
We split up to go search the different bars to find information. I would have expected they'd be back by now. I take it since you're asking me, they aren't.
Nope.
Edrim just looks at Greybeard like he's expecting another part of the story. He just disappeared.
Yeah, and you see Delphine kind of come down and is looking at you, questioning too, like, "Don't tell me we've lost two members."
Oh, crud. So...
And she's kind of... The lookouts are out, and she's like, "I don't know how long we want to stay hovering in one spot. I don't think we were spotted coming in low, but we want to be careful. We're at our most vulnerable when we're sitting this close to the ground."
Oh. Let's go, guys. And I pull on my hat with the ear flaps and put on my mitts and head for the door.
All right, back over the side.
Exasperation in Greybeard's voice is just amazing to me.
Like, Greybeard, did you lose people again?
Exactly.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I'm no Ian. I'm no Finn, and so I Greybeard's way out of his league for this kind of thing as a character, So awesome. All right, let's head back into town.
All right, so we'll skip over to Jarral and Rex. You are in adjoining cells. You've been brought to a barracks area. As you came in, you saw quite a few soldiers or guards moving in and out of the barracks as you were brought in. You got processed at a kind of a desk area. They put the map on the thing, and then they grab your backpack, and they rummage through it and see all kinds of other maps in there. And they've got all the weapons are being locked away in a locker area, and they lead you down a set of stairs that you're pretty sure you've gone underground. And then they bring you to a set of cells, and on each side there are, several humans of different descriptions here and there, even a couple of dwarves. And then they put you in one cell and Rex in another cell, a couple doors down, but they're all like bars, so you can kind of see all the different prisoners that are down here.
I try and ask if there's still a guard nearby. Well, is there a guard nearby?
Well, you could have asked questions on the way in.
Okay, so he's genuinely trying to understand. So please help me understand. What did I do wrong? What is illegal about making a map?
That's the law. You can't make a map of this town. That would be dangerous if people knew the actual layout of this town. Do you know how much ore and trade goes through here? You know how many times this place has been attacked?
No. I do not. I just did not want to get lost. It's such a beautiful big town.
Well, that sounds like a great story, but I'm sure that's what anybody would say. The law's the law.
And what is the punishment for this law?
Can vary. It'll depend on what the judge says. I mean, I haven't seen anybody blazingly create a map out in the... I haven't seen anybody get locked up for it. Nobody's actually done that. You're the first I've seen. And he's not like the guard that captured you, but he's one of the guards that is escorting you down through the hallways.
So how do you get around town if you do not know where things are?
And he kind of looks at you. It's like, it's not that big a town. I don't think people need maps moving around. You seem kind of a little shady to me.
Well, now you're just being racist.
Well, you are a criminal, so I'm sure it's okay. And as you pass by some of the cells, the humans kind of... You see a couple of different humans in there, and they kind of watch as you go by. There's a couple of dwarves in there, and you see them kind of spit at your feet as you go by, and they have this pretty daggered eyes looking at you kind of look as you go by.
He'll just meet those gazes and not really react. Or not outwardly reactive.
Yeah, and you can hear Rex is having a conversation a little bit back behind you, and he's kind of like, "Hey, I just barely met the guy. I don't know what he was doing. I don't think he knew what he was doing. And why am I in here? I wasn't making any maps." And they're like, "Sure, we've heard this. Every criminal is always innocent, and they've never done anything wrong. Yeah, we got that, buddy. We'll put you in the innocent cell. Don't worry." And then you kind of hear him mumbling like, "It's like two jails in one day and in 2 days."
Is he a repeat offender now?
Yeah, he's
Welcome to our party.
He's got a rap sheet.
All right. Well, Jarral's not really got anything more to say. He's obviously can't defend himself here.
Okay.
So he's just gonna, whenever he's in the cell, unless Rex wants to chit chat, he's just gonna kind of meditate and just kind of center himself.
Okay. So we lead back over to our dwarf, our human druid, and our half-elf bard making their way back to the northwest gate. And the guards kind of look at you quizzically, and they're just like, you guys are just coming in and out.
And Greybeard's like slumped posture, and he's like, yeah, our friends are not where they should be, so we gotta look for them.
He kind of gives you a nod, and they watch you go through, and you see him kind of talking to one of the other guards as they see you go through. But they let you on in.
All right, as we're going, I'm talking to Ardreth and Edrim and asking them what they think. You know, what do you guys think? Where do we check? I mean, they could have gotten into all kinds of things. Jarral can be very, he attracts trouble.
I was gonna say charming.
You guys are muted. Come on now. Work with me.
There's no
Well,
way
they
to
were off
know.
to a bar. That's all I know when they left.
Well, which way did they go when they left you?
And we'll head off in the direction that I last saw them.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, he was. You were kind of heading back around to the northwest, and you saw Jarral heading. He was going the southeast when you guys split up. So you're back at that spot where you had bought the cask of ale, and where everybody kind of went their way, and Jarral had walked off southeast from that spot. Was the last you seen him? Him and Rex.
And I think, I may be too late for this, but I would have probably mentioned like what I was looking for, just trying to find people that would be familiar with those three locations. So probably wouldn't be looking for like a normal pub. I'd be looking for somewhere where adventurers hang out, people that would have traveled.
All right, let's follow our noses, and we'll get there.
Okay, so you start walking southeast. What are you doing?
Looking for bars or taverns or.
There's plenty. I mean, you're passing them as you go. There's at least one per block almost, every couple blocks.
I push Ardreth in and drag Edrim in, and basically ask Ardreth to ask around about, hey, have you seen a Drow and a dashing human fighter, this evening, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, so you go in several of these different taverns, and probably the first 3 or 4, you get the answer after you've asked a couple of people that know a Drow had not entered. And then you get to one where you go in and you talk to the barkeep, and he said, yeah, there was a Drow in here asking some questions and had a wine probably 2-3 hours ago, and he's looking at Greybeard and talking to Greybeard more than he's talking to Ardreth or Edrim.
All right. Well, so any idea where he went or whatever? He was supposed to meet us at the gate.
He looks at you just before you say that, and he's like, "Now, I don't want no trouble. I don't know what he was into, and if you're going to capture him and get some type of bounty, that's on you. I don't want any of the guard coming here and asking questions. So, if you're going to find him, you can go find him." Right. I told him to leave. I was like, I didn't want nothing to do with what he was doing.
All right. Now he's our buddy. He was supposed to meet us at the gate, and he didn't show up. So.
Oh, now he kind of squints his eyes. He's like, wait a minute, you're friends with him? All right. You need to get out of my bar before you start bringing trouble down. I don't want any trouble with the guard here.
All right, friend, we're out. And I look up and at my companions and wave my hands like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and it was and Ardreth and Edrim would have noticed. I mean, even Greybeard a little bit would have noticed that. I mean, the demeanor of him switched from. He definitely looked like he was worried that he was getting involved in something that he didn't want anything to be involved with. Like somehow you guys were shady and criminal, and he didn't want anything to do with it, and he was worried that somehow the guards were going to think he was part of it, and he's shooing you out.
Well, what do you guys think? Did he get in trouble? I mean, they obviously got a thing against Drow around here.
Kind of sounds like that.
So, what do you think, Ardreth? Morgues? We should check graveyards, bone grinders, slave pits.
I'm thinking maybe we just try the local guard station.
Start with the morgues.
All right. And I follow Ardreth towards what he assumes is a guard station.
Well, you've seen walking patrols. You can when you can see the walls, you see guards up on the walls. You don't see any structures on the inside that look like where the guards hang out, except for where you were with the barracks and at the center of town. You knew the barracks was there next to the Marchion's office.
Hey, what about that Marchion guy? Would maybe there? Is that the jail?
I think it's as good a place as any to try.
All right. We try to make our way back there.
Yeah, it's easy to find. You've been there. You've been past it a couple of times now. Do you go to the barracks or do you go to the office?
Guess the office.
All right, so you see that same clerk in there behind the counter. You don't see the body that's been removed. You seem to be the only ones in this office area. Again, the first as you come in the door, there's that office, and you see the clerk kind of raise his eyes, and he's like, "Another bounty already? You guys are quick."
Oh no, I wish. Our friend's gone missing, and we're wondering if maybe he ended up in a jail cell.
Gone missing? He was just here 3 hours ago. How does somebody go missing in 3 hours?
Oh, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out.
And I'll tell him we're pretty sure he was in a bar, and now we can't find him.
And you're here because you thought he would have come here?
Or, well, we wanted to find a constabulary and check with them to make sure he didn't get, scooped up, because there seems to be a lot of anti-Drow sentiment in some of these neighborhoods.
And he looks at you a little funny, Greybeard, and he says, "Well, I'm pretty surprised that you're not anti-Drow with all the troubles we have with them in the deep mines."
Yeah, well, this one's a good one. He's a monk. He's not like other Drow.
All right. He's like, "Well, hold on. Let me send the runner over and see if the barracks knows anything." And you see that same 12-year-old kid run out, and then a guard captain comes back in about 10 minutes or so. Comes walking in, fully decked out, has the guard badge on and the big red cloak, and he looks you up and down, and he's like, "Well, it seems we have a problem here. You say you're friends with this Jarral?"
Yep.
And again he's like, Well, he was caught making a map of the town. He's obviously an outsider. Being Drow at the same time probably didn't help at all. I'm sure you understand the security of this town and how we have to keep it safe with the mines of Mirabar being so close and the amount of trade that goes through here. It seems very suspicious that your friend was making a map. Why would he be doing that? And your name was again?
And at this point, I'll jump into the conversation and say, his name is Greybeard, and my name is Ardreth, and I'll introduce the rest of the group.
Yeah. He kind of looks at you and he's like, yeah, I got it. And he looks back at Greybeard. He's like, all right, Greybeard. And it's clear that you guys have seen this a couple times now so far, that a lot of people are giving Greybeard more respect or looking to talk to him over you guys.
That's a first.
I know.
We're doomed.
Well, you could probably make an intelligence check at this point to figure out what's going on.
All of us are Greybeard.
The three of you that are there. Yeah. Okay. Edrim.
Should have spent that inspiration.
You both have got it so far. Yep. Yeah, it's all fine. Mirabar is known as a dwarven city. It just happens to be that the dwarves live under Mirabar. But it's mostly they're in control of Mirabar. So the workers on top and the human settlement that lives there have a lot of respect. They worship the gods of the dwarves. They work with the dwarves. The dwarves run everything. So they're kind of used to deferring to the dwarves. So when they see Greybeard, it's just an automatic thing to give him deference at first. So he's getting more of the benefit of the doubt than any of the rest of you. Had he not been with you, there'd probably been a lot more suspicion with you guys walking around town.
And I would, GB would like follow up from where the conversation was. Is he's always making maps. It's in his nature. He probably was just unaware. I mean, if you search his bag, it's probably full of maps from all over. And I look around and I'm like,
I go cartographer.
A brain intellectual, if you were. He's a monk. He's always contemplating.
And he kind of listens to you, and let's go with the persuasion, because you're trying to persuade him to your side. So go ahead, Greybeard. You can have advantage on this roll.
Okay, I'm gonna need it.
Can I add my persuasion needness?
Nope. No, he's not listening to you at all, half elf. But 17 is good.
Didn't you say you had inspiration?
I did not. I just checked. I had to scroll up.
Nuts.
But he gave me advantage, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, well, I mean, you realize, being a dwarf yourself, the law is the law.
Yeah.
Ignorance isn't a defense that gets you off of the law.
So what can we do? I mean, it's obviously we just brought in a criminal.
He's like, well, we're going to confiscate the maps. We're going to return Jarral to your care under your word that this was not a nefarious plot to somehow undermine Mirabar's security. And I'm taking your word for it, dwarf. Actually, he calls you not dwarf. He's more respectful than that. I wish I knew like what a nice honorific would be to show you respect, almost like senpai kind of thing. You know what I mean? Or not necessarily lord or.
Right.
But he's being respectful to you when he talks to you.
Okay. God, that's awesome.
You did do a service for us, having the Weevil returned and having that nasty business taken care of. I'm willing to this time not send Jarral to the work mines as punishment, but you're going to go ahead and have him leave. We'll return him and his stuff, but we're going to confiscate the maps.
Well, that's a fine arrangement. And then I look at Ardreth and I'm like, right, we were just getting out of town.
All right, yeah, and it's about 10 minutes later, and a couple of the guards come down to where Rex and Jarral are. They open your gates and say, Captain wants to see you, and you guys kind of head out. Again, the couple of dwarves that are in the cells spit as you go by Jarral. The humans kind of stay. They look at you, but they don't interact in any way. As you head back up, they bring you to a room where they have your pack and your weapons are there. They hand them over to you, and he says, "You've been remanded to the custody of one Lord Greybeard. We suggest that you stay out of trouble and honor his promise to keep you out of trouble." And they're over at the office waiting for you now at the Makian's office. And they're handing all your stuff. And you see Rex putting all his stuff back on, has a smile on his face, and starts to head back over to the office.
Jarrell's going to raise an eyebrow at the Lord Greybeard.
As we walk...
Go ahead.
Oh, as we walk out, I look over at Jarral and Rex and go, that kind of like makes you his slave now. I think in many cultures that when you save someone from a life of servitude in the mines, that you owe them.
Rex starts laughing heartily.
Jarrell's going to sound really gruff and say, I am nobody's slave. But then he'll also follow that up with, but I do understand he will be unbearable to be around.
Well, then I look at him and I say, being Greybeard's slave is probably better than the alternatives. You could have been a girlfriend in the mines, so consider yourself lucky.
Greybeard, kind of struts a bit, just to kind of rub it in. And then he punches Rex at one point, and it's like, could you stay out of jail for one day?
Yeah, I mean, he's laughing, and then there's a point where you guys are outside of the gate, and he kind of yells out to just nobody, like, and the Weevil strikes again! As you guys are walking through the snowfields towards the airship.
Awesome.
It's a stupid town.
Oh, phew.
I found nothing out. We go in blind. Unless you were successful out of it.
The only thing I got was a date.
Well, Greybeard slumps. When's that?
Well, if we return to the inn this evening, they want me back to play music, and I think she wants something a little bit more.
Well, go enjoy yourself then, because I don't know when we will be able to enjoy the finer things. I, however, will stay on the airship.
And Greybeard looks and he's like, you, points at Rex, and he's like, you're staying, but also, Edrim, you think you can,
It's too much stone for me.
Well, okay, so I guess I'm gonna go keep an eye on Ardreth tonight.
Jarral
And you see Delphine at the wheel of the ship, and you hear a mutter of, "But who's going to keep an eye on the dwarf?"
Exactly. Or do you think you can fly solo, Ardreth?
Well, if we're not leaving this evening, I'm definitely heading back to the inn.
Well, will you be heartbroken if we do leave this evening?
What was her charisma?
Let's do a roll. Let's find out.
Perhaps between the two of you, we might be able to find the information about these 3 places. While everybody is in their cups.
She was better, above average charisma wise. Very very talkative. Nice vocabulary.
At this point, I
decent
start
looking.
trying to convince Jarral that we need to stay. And I agree, your plan. We can definitely seek out more information.
Oh no, we should stay. I believe we should set out in the morning.
All right. Edrim. Rex, Jarl, I don't want to leave you guys here, but
We will be fine.
we need to keep you out of trouble. Edrim, you're coming with if you don't mind, because I need someone to keep me from drinking.
Edrim looks puzzled for a minute, like he's trying to figure out how to make that happen.
I didn't think Edrim cared.
Put a bag over his head and show it shut.
You do you.
Might work.
No, I really and truly, if I don't start drinking, I don't have a problem. We've established that before. That when I'm on mission, I can stay on mission. But the second it's, we're gonna be here for a while, or let's have some drinks, then it's a bad thing. So, all right,
Do you have your coffee?
I do.
It's gonna be up all night twitching.
All right, so 3 of you head back in, and the guards at the gate look at you very suspiciously, as this is now like the 4th time you've come back in the gate, and
Greybeard will say something like, I know, this one's got a date.
and they're just kind of nodding, and just like, where the hell do you keep going?
Do they say that?
Yeah.
Got a little clown bus that we hide in.
They say, where do you keep... oh, frack it. Well,
It's a short bus.
our airship is parked over the hills there. We
Airship.
Yeah.
Kind of his eyes kind of go wide, and he's like, I don't think I've seen anything like that.
Oh, it's yeah. Not when you're a hero like us, you gotta get around and solve problems and save towns and whatnot. But all the more reason that this man here has to go on his date.
Yeah, they kind of nod you through, and you kind of head into town. You make your way back to the inn.
Yeah.
All right, and I believe it was the Stonecutter's Chisel, is where you head back to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Doesn't take you too long to get back there, and you recognize the tavern keep recognizes you the minute you come in, Ardreth, and claps her hands
And
and
I lean over to...
Oh, go ahead.
I lean over to Greybeard real quick and go, I forgot her name.
Well, you don't ask me. He's just walk up and I'll introduce myself and maybe she'll say her name. Here,
Perfect.
I'll be your wingman.
Didn't work for Seinfeld.
Oh well.
Yeah,
I'll
and
try.
so she comes around, and the place is definitely a lot more bustling. You now are in the evening hours. There's a lot of people in here, and you saw a lot of people moving around town, like way more than you saw earlier on. It's clear that the work is over, and people are out doing the things that they do, carousing and that kind of thing. and she's got a couple of tables that she pushes to the side, and there you notice there's like almost like a stage area. That was the tables were close to you. Didn't quite see it when you were here the first time, but she's moved stuff around now that there's a place to actually play. And she says, "I'm so glad you're back, Ardreth, to be able to play. The crowd is going to be great."
And I'll actually let her know. I'll say, well, playing was only the second reason I returned tonight.
Okay, yeah, she you see her kind of blush a little bit, and then she moves back to filling orders because there's just lots of people calling for drinks and food and everything, and she leaves you two playing.
And I will try to catch her name now that Ardreth's not there at some point. I'll be like, "I'm Ardreth's friend, Greybeard," and try to shake her hand or whatever.
Yeah, you get a curtsy from her, and she introduces herself as Naya Smit.
Sweet. All right.
So you can play for a while, Ardreth, and if you want to do a performance check, there's plenty of people that will toss, silver coins and copper coins onto the stage for you as you play. Oh yeah, pretty good.
I was going to say, Edrim tries to warm up a little bit and keep up with Ardreth, but I'm not sure how well he'll be able to.
All right, well, let's see a performance check as you try to help out.
I'll watch him roll it better than I did.
Nope, so average you would still be above 10 together, so that's still good. So yeah, I'll make a roll here. Let's see. So you were able to get you play for about an hour or so. You play 5 or 6 songs, about 4 to 5 minutes long, and as you're looking around on the floor there, there's like 22 silver and 16 copper, enough to probably buy room for a couple of nights. Could buy food, some beer. Pretty good haul for just a couple hours.
I'll split it with Edrim.
Edrim doesn't take any of it. It just holds up a hand. It's all yours.
I want to have my party made of all Edrims.
Why no? Just give everything away.
It's going to be me as a paladin and then like 5 druids that don't want money. We're going to go around. So you play for a couple hours, and then she's brought over ale for you to drink, and every time she's done, she sets down a big frothing mug in front of Greybeard at the bar. As she then she has a tray, and she takes over 2 ales over to Edrim and Ardreth in between the songs they're playing.
I look for some real drunks and try to give them the ale. I still pay for them and all, but I'm doling out drinks and asking, about if anybody knows anything about Morgur's Mound, or the Raven Rock.
Yeah, so the first one you kind of give off, and you ask a question as you're handing it over, and they kind of give you this look. When you talk about Morgur's Mound, nobody seems to see anything. From what you can tell, these workers, they're definitely miners that came down from the mine. But they kind of seem puzzled when you ask about Raven Rock. They haven't heard of anything called a Raven Rock or what it is, as they accept your drink. And then a couple songs go by, and then another big frothy mug sits in front of you. And now you probably should make a will save.
So wisdom or charisma?
I would think this is wisdom.
I'm so screwed.
Because it looks like a nice, fresh, frothy mug.
Edrim, where are you?
Dwarven ale from a dwarven city.
Oh, it's so bad. Okay. Yep. I guess I'm like, well, it wouldn't hurt for me to have just one. And I look around and I see Edrim way over across the room, and I like glug, 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 down it real quick.
Yeah, and give us a description of what you guys are playing, just so we know. So, Ardreth, what are you at? What instrument are you playing? Or is it just singing or instrument playing? What's going on?
The lute.
Okay, so Ardreth's playing the lute. Edrim, what are you doing?
He's playing a hand-carved flute.
All right,
So
so
he has
that's cool.
no professional training. He's just kind of trying to keep up.
Yeah, okay. And so 2 or 3 songs go by. The first couple beers, Greybeard was able to resist. He was able to use them and talk to some other people, though you've not gotten any information about a Raven Rock or anything like that. After about the 3rd or 4th song, he wasn't able to resist one of the beers that were there. And then we'll do the 4th one. We'll do one last one. Go ahead and make one more save, Greybeard, to see. There's another frothy mug sitting in front of you. Though you know you don't want to. 12's pretty good, though. So you're able to nurse it, even though you really want to drink it. And you do recognize it as being a really good Dwarven ale.
Oh, okay.
But you're able to control, and as your friends come back over, you're wiping the froth off the upper lip with your sleeve, with a guilty look on your face a little bit.
And then to distract myself, I immediately go for my Dwarven pipe weed. So I'll hit my pipe in an attempt to be doing that instead of drinking.
Yeah, there is a couple of dwarves that are here. And when you speak to them and you ask about Raven Rock, they say they don't know anything about Raven Rock itself. Where is this, though? But you get... that they don't recognize, but they're like... The only thing we know about Raven around this area is if up to the west of the mines, they run into some tribes that are called the Black Raven.
Yeah,
nasty fellas, but haven't heard anything about Raven Rock.
Yeah, them's the fellas. So,
like, you gotta be careful up that way. There's a couple of different warring, dirty human tribes up that way. Barbarians that roam the valleys, try to hit the mining road every now and then. Usually the mines are guarded too well that they don't make a direct attack or anything like that. But I certainly wouldn't want to be caught out there just wandering around.
all right. Well, thanks for the info. And I can offer my pipe.
Yeah, and you do get the impression it's a pretty big barbarian tribe that's out there, but it definitely sounds like it's a roaming, roving, not staying in one place kind of tribe.
Okay, that's better than we've done so far. So awesome. Yeah, like I said, I offer some of my my pipe, but I bought good pipe weed, but it's the pipe weed I bought from here, so it's not like or anything.
Yeah. So Ardreth, you've played for about an hour. That's normally what a bard would probably play for, and then either take a break or stop at that point.
All right.
And the night's going on. There's plenty of revelers here imbibing in local drinks, but other than that, it's a pretty standard tavern scene. What would you guys like to finish out the night with?
I can't help it. A barmaid?
Ardreth is like a nightcap.
Okay. You work the angle?
It was there.
Set and...
All right, yeah. So the evening goes by, and we probably see a camera scene of Ardreth and maybe Naya at the very end, maybe going up a set of stairs, but that's as far as the camera follows. And then we'll we'll wake up in the morning with our crew as you've had a decent night's sleep at the tavern here. Probably better than sleeping on the airship. And maybe some tales won't be told as you guys see Ardreth coming down, fastening clothing and belts and stuff the next morning.
It's a long adventure.
And definitely get a good hot meal on the way out. Hopefully they're serving something decent.
Yeah. Yep. They've got breakfast ready to go even as you're getting up, even if you get up early.
All right. Pull on my anybody know what the Russian fur-covered hat with the ear flaps is called? Like an ushkashka or something?
The only one I can think of is the toque, but I think that's Canadian, right?
No, Toque doesn't have the flaps.
But anyway, if somebody knows it, put it in chat because I'll start using that term. But I pull my ear flap hat on and pull the flaps down and crack my neck and shrug my shoulders like out into the snow, fellas.
All right, and you guys head out, make it back over to the airship to find your companions, and on a bright early morning, you're sitting on the deck of the airship, and with Delphine looking to your group to say, with the look of, and where to next?
Now, we did not discuss that, but so I guess we'll do it in character. Well, what do you fellas think? Up to Raven's Rock or down to Morgor's?
If we don't have information on either of the other two, perhaps... I mean, the Eye of the Allfather is... I believe Edrim suggested that we go in a loop, a circle.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
if we stopped at one of the nearby artifact locations and then made our way up to the Great Worm Cavern, we could hit two of these spots before returning to the Eye of the Allfather.
So perhaps the one that we know of is Raven Rock, and it would make sense to start there, then just make our way down the Morgur's Mound, over to Shining White, up to Great Worm Cavern, and see where we are at there, since that is closest to the Eye of the Allfather.
So, we settled? That sound good to everyone?
Sure.
Right, then.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so we hear the noise from below deck as more hot air is being pushed into the leather balloon above your guys' head. You can hear it creak and begin to expand. The airship begins to turn and rise and gain altitude, heading in the general northwest area direction. Heading towards the spine of the world, you can see snow-capped peaks and mountains out on the horizon. It's a pretty gray and dreary day. You're under the snow clouds, and though snow is falling past, it's brought visibility down to maybe just a couple miles out versus what you normally have.
Oh, that's...
And the biting, chill air courses through and past as you make your way, and I think that's where we will call tonight's episode as we head towards Raven Rock to see how the adventure will continue. All right, good job. Everybody can mark down inspiration. I think everybody played their character really well tonight, so you'll have inspiration for next week's game. If you did not have it, you can mark it down. Poor Rex wasn't here to RP. Guess he should have been here.
Oh, dude, I think we still got the feel of Rex being here, even though he wasn't.
Still
here.
went to jail, so that was
Yes.
Yeah, we got that down.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. That is going to be our episode of Storm King's Thunder tonight. We were able to turn in the Weevil at Mirabar. We had some adventures in Mirabar, and now are heading towards Raven Rock, one of the Uthgard burial mounds, to see where this adventure takes us next. If you missed it, you can definitely check it, the episode out on the VODs, and it will be up on YouTube in a couple of days. If you want to check out any of the previous episodes, you can always check it out here in my channel here on Twitch, or you can go to youtube.com/SirLucien, and you can catch up on YouTube also.
I'll post the link in a second.
Yeah. Thanks for being in chat with us. There's a lot of great discussion. We even used a couple of suggestions by the players. They were the ones that named one of the taverns for us, so that was cool. We'll do more of that as we have more people joining and playing, listening to us play this wonderful Dungeons & Dragons game that we've got going. So definitely don't miss next week. We'll be back Monday night at 8:30. Keep an eye on my Twitter, which is @SirLucienGaming, all one word. If you want updates on other shows that we're running or other things that we're involved in, we've got a Saturday morning D&D show. We have a Sunday evening Standard Array show. One of these days I might stream the Thursday night show we're running, and then Greybeard does a lot of shows on his channel also at Greybeard's Tavern. You can check out Jarral's stuff over at MC Colonel on YouTube. You can find all their links from my YouTube page and that kind of stuff also. And that is it for us. So we are out. Glad you were here, and we will see you in the next one.